Hello everyone out there in the void, Fibiozo again. Doing pretty good at keeping up the pace right now, which is good rehearsal for my upcoming October binge. Well, like I mentioned last time, did Night of the Living Dead Classic, Night of the Living Dead Remake. Okay, so I don't know how long this review is going to be because admittedly it is a very similar film to the original in a lot of regards, but I'll do it again. So, I believe I mentioned that the first time I saw Night of the Living Dead was this version, some 15 years ago. And I don't think I've seen it since. I know I saw it more than once around that time period, but it has been a long time since I've seen this movie. It still holds up pretty well for me. And largely for the reasons I recall. Now, let's go into some of the differences. Well, I guess before that, I mentioned I haven't seen this one movie in some 15 years. That's because I hadn't come across a physical DVD copy in the wild. I rarely actually order movies. It's usually what people give me, or what I just happen to find on store runs, used stores, discount shops, and garage sales. Anything that has DVDs, particularly used, I'm there, and I'm probably buying more than I should. But I've yet to come across a copy of this one, and I'd been looking, too. So, a couple weeks ago, I finally found it, and I wanted to watch it right away because I've been missing this movie. But I knew on my obnoxious 20 collection that Night of the Living Dead was coming up, and I thought it'd be fun to do the retrospective between both. And then that got further delayed by me realizing I could do that for House on Haunted Hill also. Well, now, in my House on Haunted Hill 1999 review, I mentioned that I appreciated just how utterly different it was from the original while keeping the core thing the same. And I mentioned that I like that about when remakes do that. Well, this one, for the most part, doesn't do that. But I'm still okay with it in this case. Maybe it's the nostalgia of having seen this one first, but it is largely the same film as the original, but in color and with much more grotesque zombies. So, the differences. First, the zombies are far gorier, and there's a lot more language. This is a very R-rated film, unlike the other one, which was never really rated. Essentially, at the time, everyone was still doing gray-skinned zombies that looked like something out of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. This is the first one they really went off the rails and really made the rotting zombies we're familiar with. I can't remember exactly when Return of the Living Dead came into the picture, because I know that also did it to a degree, but this one they really wanted to go for realism, and so they're making like the yellowish rot, more hardcore rotted look. The main change, and my favorite one, is Barbara. In the first movie, she did okay as the catatonic victim, but I'd always wanted more from Barbara. She starts to come alive finally at the end of the film, just before her untimely demise. And this one, Barbara kicks ass. I mean, yes, she does still go through kind of shock, but even in her shock, she still is quick to defend herself if she has to, before getting a bit confused. But then when she comes out of it, she is the only one with a plan, and she is taking charge and kicking ass, and I love Barbara in this movie. The actress that plays her, what was her name? Patricia Tallman. It's actually mostly known for stunt work, and does stunts on a lot of movies. A few acting roles here or there, but she is amazing in this movie. And she really blew me away as my favorite character. And that is saying a lot when she's acting alongside Tony Todd, whom I have time and again professed my love for Tony Todd. Now, this is Tony Todd's first horror film, actually, done 2 years before he did the original Candyman. And he's still great at it. Dwayne Jones was a very hard act to follow in the role of Ben. Tony Todd nails it. He definitely channels what Dwayne Jones was doing, but does definitely put his own spin on it to a degree. He does a good job of making it his own. There's a lot of familiar faces for me in this one. Tom Savini, this was his directorial debut, who does makeup on a whole lot of things, from Creepshow to Friday the 13th. And I think he had his hand in the original, if I remember. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. I really should start doing more research before I start recording. But here I am. Maybe a year or two. And also, we have Bill Mosley in a small cameo. I don't know if I've talked about Bill Mosley really on this show. I think I touched on him back in my 3 from Hell review way back when. But Bill Mosley, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. He's got a distinct voice and atmosphere about him. He's in a bunch of other things too, but those are what just comes to my head. He plays Johnny in this one and does the iconic "They're coming to get you, Barbara" lines, and really takes that up to 11 and making Johnny much more stand out. Pretty much, when in doubt, everything in this movie is taken up a notch. The scenes with Johnny in the cemetery are done up more. They do a little bit more with the little girl zombie. There's a lot going on. I mean, one thing I do like is the first movie, they did posit some theories about what was going on and had a news broadcast kind of explaining things along the way, which I can understand in the first real zombie film. Like, that's where they found out shooting them in the head, and the dead are rising, and things like that, and also the theories about Venus radiation. This one, yeah, there's that they get a little bit, but mostly they get skepticism from the TV, and only confirmed at the radio at the very end with Trent just laughing, "Oh, I finally got it right." In this one, the characters have to find things out along the way on their own. To the point where they actually destroy the TV accidentally pretty early on, so they actually get cut off from that. Also, another change they made is to the locals who are just passing through, now this is their uncle's place that they're staying in, which gives them a bit more personal stake in the location and some of the bodies around. One of the unanswered things about the original Night of the Living Dead was when Barbara first comes to the house, there's a dead body upstairs that never animates. They never explain why. Well, this one, there's a zombie upstairs coming down from them, and a dead body up there. But that dead body already has a hole clearly in his head, so it shows why that body didn't get up. So it's answering things. I mentioned the satellite theory in this one, but dismiss it. They throw a bunch of theories out. But never really, they go at the back, this is where the ambiguity really started. I think they did that in the original Dawn of the Dead, but I can't remember. It's been forever since I've seen that one. I actually don't own a copy of that one yet, so I need to track that one down. Maybe I'll do those ones back to back for the remakes. I'd love to. I tried it. We'll see. What else? The ending of this one, I also love for how it goes. I mean, they do take out the racial tension point that the original had. Spoilers in this one. I'm going to go into spoilers. Okay. So Barbara becomes our survivor girl rather than a victim girl. And she's a shotgun-toting badass. No, it's more of a rifle, but I'm not a gun expert. So, but Ben gets bitten and gets forced into the cellar while Mr. Cooper, Harry, he is in even more of an insufferable ass in this one, to the point where he actually starts a gunfight with Ben before being stuck in the attic. And in this one, he was doing a lot more to hinder. He was trying to take guns away from Barbara. He shot Ben. He refused to shoot his zombie daughter, which I can give a little latitude. That would be something that's hard to do. But he was doing everything he could to hinder, particularly when things were at their worst. So when he actually survived and Barbara's the one that finds him, the fact that she has no hesitate just shoots him and just announces another one for the pile to the rescuers that she's now with was beautiful. You want to see this guy get his comeuppance throughout the whole film, and for it to be delivered from our lead, stunning. So I give the original a 5 out of 5. For me, I actually have to give the remake 5 out of 5 as well. 5 MacGuffins easy. It holds up very well to the original. It was fun doing a double feature on them, just seeing the small differences. I mean, they are very similar films. That I can see being a criticism. But doing it where the technology had advanced to improve the zombies, and for me, they did the character of Barbara so much better in this one by giving her more of a role. Like in the original one, she starts out seeming to be our lead before going catatonic, and Ben just pretty much takes over. This one, she's the lead throughout it, with Ben becoming definitely an important second. And also, she gets some good chemistry with Ben. I wouldn't call it like a romantic subplot exactly, but she and him begin playing off each other very well, and she does try to... When Mr. Cooper starts shooting at Ben, she's returning fire. Those two are pretty much become a team in this, and it's the amount that they start working with each other, like Ben going out and like, I want someone in here I can trust, to her. Well, I guess this one ended up being not too short after all. So, not having to cover the plot was not really an issue, because it is the exact same plot as the other one. Pretty much beat for beat. And some scenes are... There's a few extra words thrown in here, but all the iconic lines are still there. I'll be boss up here, you be boss down there. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up. All the classic lines are in there. Well, I highly recommend seeking it out if you haven't seen this version. It is a good version. I mean, it does go by the notes. And I know Tom Savini was a little disappointed with how it turned out, because he wanted to make it even more extreme, but he had to keep cutting, and there's a lot of studio interference on it. But despite that, I think it really turned out very well. Maybe it's a touch of nostalgia on my part. Let me know what you think in the comments if you have anything to say on that regard, on how you think it holds up towards the original. But for me, it's right up there. Well, I'm not sure what I'm going to be reviewing next, but I'm going to keep trying to keep up this pace for a little while, just to practice. I'm on vacation from work, so it's going to be a lot harder to do once we're in October, but we'll see how that goes, since I want to do another October marathon, and it's probably going to kill me. Lately at work before this, I've been working 40 to 50 hours a week, so that's going to be a little tricky. But I do it out of love. Well, hope to see you all soon, but I'll be here. Look forward to seeing you. Anyone in the void, care to join me?